Live, Southwest Virginia's only news in high definition. This is WSLS 10 on your side at 11.
Good evening, I'm John Carlin.
And I'm Karen McNew. Recommendations made in the aftermath of the April 16th shootings are the focus of a meeting tonight at Virginia Tech. After the shootings, Governor Tim Kaine appointed an independent review panel to do a comprehensive study on what went right, wrong, and what needed to be improved at Virginia Tech. President Steger also directed 3 Virginia Tech committees to do the same. Those committees reviewed 3 areas: security on campus, communication during emergencies, and student outreach programs. Tonight, 10 on Your Side's Angela Hatcher set up a roundtable discussion with some students after that meeting, where the recommendations currently stand and how some students feel about them.
400 recommendations are now 33 initiatives University President Charles Steger believes could make Virginia Tech safer than it was on April 16th.
Was there anything that was presented today at all that you're like, yeah, actually, I think that might help?
No.
This group of Tech students listened to every comment and question. Afterwards, we asked what they thought. In the meeting, one professor told the panel
that my students are anxious, and I know a lot of faculty are anxious about the possibility of increased or some kind of copycat violence.
Ken Miller isn't anxious, but can understand why his fellow students might be.
Because it is a significant day, and it's something that if somebody's wanting to hurt others, that would be a time that he would likely pick.
This comment comes from a student.
If you just look like you're a college-age student, you'll be able to follow anybody into a dorm.
But as far as the possible solution, Nina Camoriano says,
swipe cards are just a gesture, in my opinion, just a public gesture to make people feel safer.
All this costs a lot. Brian Scott insists the one thing that's not on the list would save both lives and money.
They've spent $10.4 million trying to make campus safer, but yet all the things they've instituted will not save my life if there's an active shooter in my classroom. Being able to carry my concealed weapon costs the university zero.
Tech spokesman Larry Hinker admits nothing is foolproof.
Whether or not you can prevent that kind of thing on an acute basis remains to be seen.
But they've got to try. At Virginia Tech, Angela Hatcher, WSLS 10 on your side.
Microphone's a little short for me. Sorry. I'm Ken Stanton, I'm a PhD student here and a big tech fan, of course. I want to say, first of all, thank you for taking a lot of measures to try to ensure our safety, preventative and responsive. As I've heard before, and I'm hearing even more now, there's a lot of money going into this, which, as we know, our budget's short. It's very difficult to do what you're trying to do. But from these events, we've also, these events here and at NIU, we've seen that students are left defenseless by the policies that govern firearms on campus and carrying firearms. Ever since Virginia Tech, the national debate on gun control has come to an all-time high. And currently, the school has a policy which is maintained for many years that students, faculty, and staff are prohibited from having firearms on campus. But this is a public institution, and those who don't fall under those constraints are not restricted. And that Attorney General has confirmed that, of course, in his opinion. So, is the university reconsidering its policy to disarm, people that are here every day from being able to defend themselves from whether it be a classroom event or something that happens on or around campus?
Well, let me say that. And I appreciate your comments, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. But I really do appreciate you sharing your view, because it's a view held by a number of people. I personally do not feel that having individuals with handguns in the classroom helps safety. Now, that being said, at the end of the day, we will follow the law of the Commonwealth and whatever the federal regulations are. That's my personal view. It's not an official view. And as I say, many people disagree with me, but I appreciate you raising it, because it is something, and that's what's good about democratic society, where we can exchange our views and come to some consensus about what is the best path for people's future. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And for those who applauded There are over 20,000 people nationwide who are supporting this, and they're growing very quickly. I encourage you to at least listen to the debate and learn what it's about. Thank you.
I would just add, I'm an avid hunter and have 5 kids at home, and I've taught them all to be responsible hunters. We have many students who are hunters themselves, and to just say blankly that firearms are not allowed on the Tech campus is not quite accurate, because any student who likes to hunt or shoot as a sport, they can have their gun on campus, and we have dozens of guns at the police station in the gun vault. They simply check the guns in, and they're kept under lock and key. They're available 24/7, just to be signed in and out with an ID card. So it's not quite accurate to say that students can't have guns on campus. It's just that they can't carry them in concealed fashion.
Right, and this is about self-defense, not about hunting.
Sure.
I mean, that's a sport all on its own, and I understand that rule.
Thank you. Is there anybody over here?
This is well placed.
Why don't you move it all over? Oh, these lights and then it gets
My name is Ken Miller. I'm an undergraduate student here. First of all, I would like to say that nothing I say is meant to criticize the Blacksburg Police, Christiansburg Police, or campus police. I've done physical security for the Navy, and I understand how difficult it is. I also understand, though, that there are limitations to what human beings can do, especially when they don't know where the threat is coming from and when it may come. Knowing that, and knowing that any policy the university has regarding firearms will not affect anybody who comes willing to do himself or others harm. With those two in mind, what advantage do you see in restricting firearms for those of us who have a concealed carry permit, who have the training, and have shown ourselves to be trustworthy in the eyes of this Commonwealth of Virginia? What advantage do you see in restricting this?
Well, this is probably the subject for a completely separate debate, but I'll just give you one example. If you had someone engaging in a shooting in the classroom and someone else stood up with another gun, and then there's a third person armed, do they know whether they're together or, you could end up with chaos. And the other part is that, I expressed my opinion earlier, but all of the campus law enforcement officers across the country do not feel this is a good idea. These are people who are trained. It's not just, how to shoot, it's when. And these are people who are trained, and they disagree with this position, and I have great, I respect their opinion. I respect your opinion as well, let me say. But I just think on balance that more harm could be done than good. That doesn't mean there aren't certain situations where it may be the better thing to do. But it's one of these difficult debates, and I suspect it'll be something we'll debate on this campus, particularly as the Supreme Court deals with the issue in Washington, D.C. they're considering right now. And I mean, as you know, you've been in security, you know how complicated and difficult the issue is. And I wish I were wise enough to give the perfect answer, but I can't. But I have thought about it, and as I say, I expressed my view earlier on that. But I thank you for raising it.
Would you be willing to discuss it with those of us who
Sure, I'm happy to discuss it with you. It's one of the great things about being a university is to share our ideas and to agree or disagree, but in a way of good spirit, and that we all learn something in the process.
All right, we'll look forward to the discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.